Here's a short sneak peek from the Council on Foreign Relations Roundtable Group section from Invisible Empire.
In all of the British dependencies, these organizations, the front groups, were called the Royal Institute for International Affairs. In the United States, they chose a different name. They chose the Council on Foreign Relations, but it held exactly the same relationship to this inner society of Cecil Rhodes.
Among the charter members were W. Averell Harriman of Union Banking, then President of the United States Woodrow Wilson's main advisor, Colonel Edward Mendell House, John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil, banking mogul J.P. Morgan, and prominent bankster Paul Warburg.
Well, the Council on Foreign Relations exists today. It's probably the most powerful single organization in America. Many observers, including myself, believe that it is the hidden government of the United States. These people are not elected to office, and most Americans don't even know who they are. But they are holding all of the important positions in society. There are only about 4,000 of them in the United States, but I don't care what organization you want to look at, whether it's government or whether it's universities or the large media centers or whatever it is. You look at the people at the tops of those organizations, the owners, the managers, the CEOs, the board of directors, and I'm going to say probably 80 to 90% of the great power centers of America are dominated by just those 4,000 people who are members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
That was just a short clip from Invisible Empire where we're chronicling how the shadow government controls society through groups like the Council on Foreign Relations that operate as front groups for the roundtable group intelligence systems that control our society from behind the throne.
There it is, folks. Invisible Empire, New World Order to find at prisonplanet.tv first, and we're streaming there live. I also want to remind people to support acolablue.com. Acola Blue, fresh water from the air. You don't even need a source. It makes up to 7.5 gallons of water per day. Call them at 1-800-691-6043 or go to acolablue.com, ECOLO blue.com. Mark, that's just a small snippet of my film. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes. And I really think that G. Edward Griffin, being one of the primary characters in the Patriot movement, somebody who's been around for, I believe, 50 plus years. He made movies like Katanga, The Capitalist Conspiracy, back in the 70s, when really all she had was, well, not even a PowerPoint presentation. It was literally slides on a projector. And to progress to the level where we're using After Effects, we're using Final Cut Pro, we're not only getting to the level of the History Channel, but surpassing it in many ways, is very exciting to me, because I feel like not only are we going to reach a younger audience, a newer audience, but it's going to hold true with our already great audience out there who can make copies and hand it out to people.
And unfortunately, you can put together a tremendous film or even just a videotape of a speech of somebody, and this isn't going to have the impact because we're so used to the MTV style, quick graphics and just incredible sound. And so that's, you're sort of playing their game, you're culture jamming the system, you're using their own game against them, which I think is fantastic.
Well, I've often talked to you about how we're going to win this thing, and I said if we don't have our own media arm, if we don't have our own competition for CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, we truly are going to be doomed. We do need something like InfoWars and Prison Planet that pumps out 25 stories a day, that pumps out 3 or 4 documentaries a year, that keeps up on the activism front, that keeps people in tune with the real news, the real issues. How else are we supposed to compete with literal multi-billion and trillion-dollar corporations like General Electric and Westinghouse that own NBC and all of these other huge networks?
Well, that's why the Alex Jones radio show is fantastic, too, because we do need, a daily radio show of several hours, because, what are you going to choose from? Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh? Even if you're a conservative, okay, some of their issues that they talk about might be interesting, but once you understand that they are just a bunch of propagandists and a bunch of gatekeepers, you need some sort of an alternative. So, the Alex Jones show, other shows like it are just perfect, because you can sit there and you can download the MP3. They have the great guests, because they occasionally the mainstream media will get a guest like Gerald Celente on or Peter Schiff, but that's very rare, and it's for one segment, so you maybe get 5 minutes of their knowledge. So you get Alex Jones' show, other shows, your show, and you can get these people on there, and you'll interview them for a half an hour, 45 minutes, or for a full hour to get a more comprehensive understanding instead of just a soundbite mentality of the rare occurrence that Peter Schiff or any of these other heroes, Andrew Napolitano, are on the mainstream news. Just a few seconds of what they have to say versus 30 minutes or an hour.
Absolutely. And when you're listening to this mainline garbage, you're fitting the mold that they're really crafting for you. They want you to be on one side or the other. They don't want you to look at both sides. I often look at both sides of the picture, the right perspective, the left perspective, and of course, our perspective, so that I can take those and analyze them and find out what is the real deal. What does the evidence point towards? What can we do to stop this? How do we educate people about these issues? And obviously, like you said, the economy is a huge hot button issue, and it's being manipulated on all fronts right now. In fact, the New York Times is running a headline when they're saying, "Why so glum? Numbers point to a recovery." Yes, they point to a recovery when the banks are giving out record numbers to their own associates while they take your pension funds. That's right, record bonuses for their guys as they take your pension funds. As Bernanke gets up and says we have to raise taxes. Back after this, it's the Alex Jones Show, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. And there's nothing but love in my heart. I am Jason-Bermas in for Alex Jones. It's the Alex Jones Show. We're joined by Mark Dice. And I really want to talk about being mesmerized, hypnotized by the system because, again, I can remember myself in 99, 2000, even after the 9/11 attacks without really looking into it, just being totally brain damaged and dead. It was only 9/11 that got me even involved in the mainstream media. That's where I started watching these 24-hour news networks, starting to realize that geopolitics was important. Before that, I was watching Temptation Island. I was watching every garbage show that's out there. I would probably still be the guy watching Jersey Shore or some other crap like that if I hadn't awakened to the real system. In fact, later on tonight, I'm going to be on Tap Out Radio. A lot of people out there know that I'm a huge MMA fan, but I'm going to have the opportunity for an hour to reach out to an audience that 90% of them probably don't have any idea what I'm going to talk about. I can introduce them to an idea like the New World Order. And quite frankly, when I first watched Road to Tyranny, Alex Jones's film about 9/11, not only did I not want to believe it, but I was uncomfortable with the term New World Order. I was like, why doesn't this guy stick to global elite or something like this? New World Order makes him sound like a kook. It makes him sound like all those Christians that think that the world is going to end and the rapture is about to come here. I don't want to hear that. But as I progressed, Mark, as I learned more and more and more, I realized, hey, wait a minute. New World Order is their term. And that's why I made this film. I made this film because I'm taking their propaganda and using it against them. And I'm showing what it's really about. I'm exposing that a New World Order is truly a government in which the state is God, where they micromanage your entire life in a cashless society control grid, where your every single move is tracked, traced, and databased through an RFID implant, Mark, and you are a big part of this film. Why don't you speak to the fact that people can have awakenings, that they don't have to be drones all their lives?